I'm in John Berger's kitchen, which is an unusual place for me to find myself because Berger is one of the first people I started reading when I got to college. His book, G, had just come out. It was the first book I ever received for free in the mail from a publisher. And because it was followed almost immediately by a hugely different book, I said, this is very interesting. G, a novel of Don Giovanni, full of Kierkegaard and Mozart. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But this is the novel of the seducer, and it's followed by novels by the storyteller. And I was very, very interested in that movement that took you essentially from being a person who plots, the G person, the seductive person, the writer of seduction and trickery, to a writer of a much simpler, a storytelling kind. What were you thinking of when you began G? Because it seems to be a place that you did not go back to.
Well, Michael, before I answer that, I'd like to say this, because if we're in this conversation we're having as equals, it seems to me that, and this should be clear, I mean, you're an incredible expert, but I don't like the word expert, inhabitant, hunter, about books, about written texts, about literature, which you cross and live in and relate to what is outside that forest, if you wish, which is life. And I have the feeling you began, as it were, with books. I'm the opposite, in fact. I mean, actually, I don't know so much about literature, and I don't know so much about books, and I'm not a very verbal person. I do know, I think, quite a lot about some things about life, but usually in a very inarticulate way. And then I try to come with that onto the page. So it seems to me it's a very interesting situation between us, because one of us is going from page to life and the other trying to go from life to page. And maybe that's...
Maybe there's an intersection.
And maybe therefore there's an intersection.
Because you see, for me, I was very shy as a child, and books told me about the world, and I depended on my writers to be worldly. And G is, in a sense, a very worldly book, yes?
When you say that, you mean you read books in a way so that they could help you to live?
So that they would tell me how others had lived. When I start, I'm sure you do this too, sometimes you reach a line in literature that's so beautiful that you start to cry.
Yes.
Because this is it.
Yes.
And I think that when I read Peter Handke's Casper play, and he says that Casper, the wild child's first sentence was, "I want to be someone like someone else once was." This was an experience where I said, I understand. I want to be someone the way somebody else once was. And I found these lives, possibilities for life, in books.
Yeah, yes. Yes. I think, I mean, it's something that people don't talk about very much. And maybe, and of course it has actually changed a great deal because of the new media and television. But I mean, until 50 years ago, it seems to me there was another function about books, in a way more superficial, but at the same time very important, which is that when you were young, in reading books, you also learned how to behave in certain situations.
I know what you mean, but I think I learned how not to behave.